So this is the Hallmarkies podcast, and we are so excited to bring you this bonus episode where we are talking about a very eclectic mix of wedding movies and wedding themed movies. And I'm Rachel, and Amber's here.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, and so what were we kind of thinking with this this podcast?
You know, I thought it was fun getting ready for June Brides this month, and then also I wanted to talk about the Philadelphia Story. So I said, let's just talk about movies about weddings.
Yeah. And I kind of like that we picked 4 sort of really eclectic, fun movies. And I feel like it's a chance for our listeners to get to know us better and our individual sort of tastes and what we like and outside of strictly Hallmark movies. So this is fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll start. So the first one that I picked is a more sort of traditional wedding movie. We're going to talk about My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And this is not only one of my favorite wedding movies, it's actually one of my favorite comedies. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of wedding bride movies in general. And like The Insufferable Bride is just like one of my least favorite characters. But what I think is so great about this movie is, first of all, personally, I just think it's so funny. Like, I laugh and laugh and laugh throughout. I love when her aunt is talking about her mole that gets excised that has a skeleton.
It was my twin.
It's my twin. The butt cake, that cracks me up every time. I think what makes this work, aside from it being super funny, is I think it's not actually about an insufferable bride. Like, they are super easygoing. Like, they basically it's her family that basically makes things crazy. And I think when comedy works, for me at least, is when you take a normal situation and you just up it a little bit. You make it a little bit ridiculous. Because that, to me, exposes the ridiculousness of life. You know, you take situations we can relate to and you just heighten them just a little bit. And that, to me, is funny. And they have, I think, great chemistry, John Corbett and Vardalos. She wrote this as a play first about her life and her experience of marrying when she got married to her husband and her family, and just so over the top. I think it's so funny, like the Windex and and I can definitely also relate to her as like a little girl with like everybody had these like cute little lunches, and she had like these barbaric I can totally relate to that, because I always ended up having to eat hot lunch. I was so jealous because everybody had these because my dad thought that like packaged products were like an affront. Like he still does. He's just like, that's such a waste of money. Why pay more to have it in a cute little box? I'm like, because it's in a cute little box. And so he's like, why not just make your own pudding? Why pay more to have it in a little pudding cup? I'm like, it's in a cute little pudding cup. He is unable to understand lunch. My father. And so like I totally related to that scene. And like I have a very like big boisterous family. Like I know I'm on my Wagner side. So like that are loud and opinionated and sometimes challenging but great. And I also have like on the Wagner side, there's probably like 12 of us that are all girls that are all, you know, within like a 7 to 8 year span. Like we're all kind of close to being teenagers or teenagers together. And I don't know. So I just think this movie's so funny, and I just really relate to it, and I think has a nice heart to it. And I just like the fact that they're just like, we're going to make our family happy. Like, you know, you love your family. We love our family. And that's what so many of these wedding movies get wrong, is it's all about just this selfish couple that all they care about is themselves. And this, I think, is just such a good job. So anyway, I love it. What do you think about it?
This movie is amazing, obviously. I love Nia Vardalos. She's so funny. John Corbett doesn't like really do it for me, but he's very charming in this movie, and I really like the two of them together.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Windex thing is hilarious. And I really actually relate to the Windex thing, because I feel like my mom is that exact same way. Like, except for it's not Windex. It is just like the amber colored Listerine. She's like, oh, everything can be cured with amber colored Listerine. Don't worry about it. So she's insane. But also it kind of works. So who knows? It's antibacterial. So obviously will kill bacteria. So funny. One of the things that I really love about this movie, which is very small, is Joey Fatone in this movie.
Yeah.
I was a big NSYNC girl. Obviously, Joey Fatone is the best. So I love him in this movie. And it really is just like a fun movie about family. And I like that this movie doesn't say like her family is crazy and that's wrong.
Right.
I like that the stand that the movie takes is her family is crazy and it's her family. So that's
and they
life.
don't really say that his family is bad either, you know, like, because it's just small and it's kind of boring. Like, that doesn't mean it's bad. I think that you know, it's just these clash of cultures, and I also can totally relate to the give me a word and I'll make it find out how it's Greek, because that's just the kind of, my dad doesn't even do that because we're not Greek, but like, that's just the kind of thing that my dad would do. Like, just something that he thinks is so cool and so funny, and he will tell everyone about it. Like, if he finds a book that he likes, like, he will just, what amazes me about my dad is you think by like the fifth person you call, like, your enthusiasm would be a little bit kind of dampered down. No, not my dad. Like, if he finds like a place he likes, a restaurant he likes, or whatever, then, and I do this to a certain extent, but like, he just, his enthusiasm is contagious, my dad's. And so I can relate to, I don't know, just that kind of mentality of just thinking like something's so great and thinking everyone else will find it as interesting as you do. I hear that you like this one. So what was your first pick?
My first pick was A Walk to Remember from 2002, starring Mandy Moore and Shane West, and it was directed by Adam Shankman, whom I adore. I adore Adam Shankman. I accidentally saw him once in Vegas and I started crying. It was the most embarrassing and most wonderful moment of my life. I'm not even gonna lie.
He directed Hairspray, correct?
Yeah, he directed Hairspray and A Walk to Remember. He's one of the judges on So You Think You Can Dance. And he, you know, he's done a lot of choreography for a lot of movies. He produced a lot of movies. He produced She's the Man, I believe.
I like that one.
Yeah, he's just amazing. I love him. Anyway, so yeah. And this movie is based on a Nicholas Sparks book. And truth be told, like, I have seen pretty much every Nicholas Sparks movie, but I'm not like a big Nicholas Sparks fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the happy ending. And
right. So I was going to ask where you stand on Nicholas Sparks.
Yeah, he loves killing people. It was obvious. It was my first Nicholas Sparks movie. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, if they're so in love, why is he talking about her in the past tense? Does she die? So I read the book first before the movie came out, and I was just like sobbing. Like, I couldn't even see the book through my tears. It was insane. I don't even know. It was ridiculous. But I really love this movie. I think it does so many things well. It really introduced us to Mandy Moore as an actress, instead of just like a bubbly girl. I think this is when she like went brunette, and everyone was like, wow, so serious, interesting. Because it really separated her from the other blonde pop stars of that time who were trying to break into acting, you know, Christina, Brittany, Mandy Moore. Right, yeah. And I think we can safely all declare that Mandy Moore definitely won the acting competition.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, this is a really sweet movie.
It really is.
It's really sweet. It's this high school romance. You've got the popular kid, the nerdy girl, and they end up. He has to tutor her because of some things he does, or he get tutored by her, I should say, and I think that they do a pretty good job, like, building up their chemistry together, and I think they do have pretty good chemistry, and then it gets kind of announced that she's got leukemia, and it's very sad. It's very sweet. I think one thing that the whole bucket list concept, this was the first time when I saw this, the first time I ever really knew what that was, like the idea of like a bucket list. And it is pretty charmingly executed though. Because I'm actually not a bucket list person. Like I don't know, I just don't have this like list of stuff I have to do.
Yeah.
That's not my personality. But I know a lot of people are, and that can really relate to that. And it is very sweetly executed, like her being in two places at once. Like I don't know who would think of that as a list item, but anyway, she does. And that's cute. And so, and it does have some faith elements. Her dad's a preacher. And I think that's actually handled pretty well. I think things with his dad is a little heavy-handed, but it's okay. I can handle it. And I think especially compared to some of the more recent Nicholas Sparks movies, this is just so much better, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things about this movie is they had initially cut this movie to be a PG-13 film, and they decided that they wanted to make it PG. And it's really, I think it's boosted by that, because it kept it very sweet. It didn't become something it didn't need to be, which I really approve of. And you might be wondering, Amber, why are you including this in your weddings movie? Let me explain if you've never read the book. In the book, Jamie, her leukemia has progressed, and she's so sick by the time they actually have the wedding that she's like in a wheelchair. She can't walk or anything. And for the wedding, they were just planning on pushing her in a wheelchair, but she actually is able to gather enough strength just to walk down the aisle with her dad's help. And that is the eponymous A Walk to Remember from the movie. And it's, it's her last big to-do list is to get married in the church where her parents were married and all that stuff. So that's why I'm counting this as a wedding movie, because the whole movie is actually building to the Walk to Remember.
Yeah.
Which they kind of gloss over in the movie, but she looks lovely anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a sweet moment in the movie. And I haven't read the book, so I can't comment on that, but yeah, I believe you. So there you go. Is it your favorite Nicholas Sparks, or is
I really like it. I think for a while I might have said that like most people, that The Notebook is. But I don't know. I kind of feel like the people in The Notebook are the worst. So, I mean, it probably is my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be my favorite. I actually thought that the Longest Ride, I think that's what it's called. I thought it was one of the better ones of recent years. I didn't think it was that. It got terrible reviews. I didn't think it was that bad. And it didn't actually have like the horrific ending.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I thought it was sweet. And there you go. So, all right. Well, my second pick that I wanted to talk about, because I don't know, if you guys don't follow my other channel, you wouldn't know that I love animation. Animation is my first love, really. And I just love the artistry of it. And I love stop motion animation. I just think it's amazing. The attention to detail that they have to go to. And like, they'll spend all day making like 1 second or 2 seconds of filming, and I don't know, I just love it. I love the atmosphere, and I used to love Tim Burton movies, and then he just has not been my favorite for the last really, it's been since Sweeney Todd that he's made a live action movie that I have liked personally, but his 2 stop motion animated movies that he made in that time period, I really liked Frankenweenie. I thought it was great, and I really liked The Corpse Bride. So I just thought, what a fun time to kind of introduce our listeners to my love for animation and talk about this movie, The Corpse Bride. And this movie is, I think, a pretty clever story. It's about this man, Victor, who is voiced by Johnny Depp, who is going to be forced into this arranged marriage with a character voiced by Emily Watson. And they actually get close to meeting, and they have like chemistry. They actually are surprised that they like each other. And but he still kind of freaks out about this idea of getting married, and he runs into the forest, and he's kind of going over his vows in his head and everything, and practicing his vows, and he puts what he thinks the rings on the finger of a twig. It turns out it's actually not. It's actually a corpse bride, and the corpse bride thinks that now that they are married, and the corpse bride is voiced by Helena Bonham Carter, and so he ends up having to go to the like the underworld, and it goes back and forth. And one thing I really like about this movie, I think the songs are super fun and really enjoyable. The Remains of the Day, I think, is just super catchy, fun song, and all the singing, I think, is really good, well done. And I love Victor's solo, his piano solo. I think is beautiful. And I like the fact that both of the brides are pretty nice, actually, and like likable characters, and I just think it's visually just beautiful. I think the animation is gorgeous, and yeah, I think it's a good movie. I like it.
Yeah, it was fine. But I have a thing that I think I realized halfway through this movie is that I am not 100% sure. Like, I mean, I love Edward Scissorhands. I love a lot of these Tim Burton movies, but I am actually not sure if I actually love Tim Burton movies or if I just love Danny Elfman that much.
I can understand that.
Because for me, this movie, like, the plot and the storyline was fine, but really the music elevates the crap out of it.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with you there.
And so, I mean, I had a nice time watching this, but the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, would Tim Burton be anything without Danny Elfman? And I kind of came to the conclusion, no.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I completely agree. I mean, I love his earlier stuff. I love his Pee-wee movie. I'm not that big a fan of his Batman movies, actually. I'm kind of an unpopular opinion about that. But I really love Edward Scissorhands. I love his Ed Wood. I think is brilliant. I can even enjoy Mars Attacks. It's messy as heck.
I love Mars Attacks.
But I think it's enjoyable. I don't know. So there's a bunch in there that are not coming to my head right now, but there's a bunch of his earlier movies that I really did enjoy, and I consider myself a big fan. But I think that CG computer graphics have really hurt, because he started in animation. He started working for Disney, and then he branched off on his own. And I think that the further he strayed from those doing it by himself, hand kind of things, even in his live action movies where it was more like visceral and real and things, I think has really hurt him. And for the last 10 years, he's just been adapting other people's, except for Frankenweenie and except for Corpse Bride, he's been adapting other people's stories. He made his Planet of the Apes, which is terrible. He made his Alice in Wonderland, which I hated. He made what's it called? The Shadows. I can't think of the name. Anyway, it's terrible. I hate it. And then he did his Sweeney Todd, which I liked. I thought that was good. But anyway, he's just done a ton of adaptations. I really did not like his Miss Peregrines, and I liked the book. I don't know, just a whole bunch of movies that were like adaptations of other people's ideas, where I think, and they just feel kind of flat and boring to me. And it just feels like we're getting the same thing with Johnny Depp in super white makeup, and Helena Bonham Carter. And I did not like his Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's just not working for me. And those movies have their fans, and that's fine. It's just my personal taste. And I just feel like I wish he would get back. I did a whole article on my blog called How to Save Tim Burton, of what I wish that he was doing. And I wish that he would get back to his own stories and telling his own things. And even A Big Fish, I think, is based on a novel, but it felt more like a Tim Burton movie. And I don't know, I just wish he'd get back to telling his own stories with that more grounded artistry to it, as opposed to just computer graphics, which just feels so boring to me. Anyway, but I do love, I know you're not a big animation girl, but I just think visually this has a really cool look, the color palette, the way that the characters are kind of styled, and And a lot of people compare this to The Nightmare Before Christmas, which was not directed by Tim Burton. He gets the credit for that movie, but it's not. It's directed by Henry Selick, and he did not write it. He just was like, he gave the initial
producer
idea, and he was an executive producer on it because he was busy making another movie at the time. Anyway, poor Henry Selick. Tim Burton gets the credit for all of his movies. But I wish that, but I don't know, I just think this movie has a really cool visual style to it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's just, I think it was all Danny Elfman.
Yeah, and the songs are, without a doubt, the best part. So I don't have a problem with that at all, actually. So there you go. That was my kind of eclectic choice. And if any of you want to learn more about animated films, please check out my channel, because I literally cover every single animated film that comes out. So little plug, shameless plug. But anyway, what was your last pick?
So my final pick, which was really my first pick, because this is why we started the whole thing, is the 1940 classic, my favorite movie of all time, and nothing will ever beat it, The Philadelphia Story.
Yeah.
Which stars Katharine Hepburn, Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart, and is directed by the incredible George Cukor. This movie is, it's honestly a perfect movie. I know I said, oh, is there another perfect movie? This is, in fact, a perfect movie.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. It stars Katharine Hepburn, like I said, as Tracy Lord, who initially is married to Cary Grant's C.K. Dexter Haven, and they get a divorce, and she is now about to marry this new up-and-coming guy who was born poor, who's made his way through the ranks, named George Kittredge. And there is a journalist who wants to, who works basically for a tabloid. It's called Spy Magazine. And he's supposed to sneak his way into the wedding and get the inside scoop on a society wedding. So the whole movie takes place over this wedding weekend, and it is incredible. All of the performances in this movie are amazing. I don't know if you'll ever find someone who says this movie's not incredible, because they're insane if they do. Yeah. And, everyone knows Katharine Hepburn, Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart are amazing. But my personal favorite part of this movie is Virginia Weidler, who plays Katharine Hepburn's little sister, Dinah Lord. Every time that girl is on the screen, I am hysterical. She is so funny. And then obviously, of course, this whole movie is just so witty. The dialogue's insane. The banter is incredible. It's a perfect movie.
Yeah, it is a wonderful movie. I actually got the pleasure of seeing it on the big screen as one of the TCM classics this year. I think I saw it in March, I believe. And so you guys should definitely check out the TCM classics. They're really, really neat to see these classic films on the big screen, to me at least. And it was so neat to see this movie because it arguably, maybe not even arguably, it has the best cast in the history of movies. Like,
correct.
Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart, Katharine Hepburn, like...
I mean, and that's not even going into, like, Ruth Hussey and Mary Nash, who's incredible, and John Holliday, and it's just, it's amazing. The names in this movie, I don't even know if I can't even imagine a movie with this caliber of actors coming out today, because it would just cost too much money. Yeah. I mean, you definitely have movies with like 3 really famous leads, like Bridget Jones, for instance, but like not just stacked like this movie. And just the script is so great. It actually won the Academy Award that year for Best Screenplay, of course. And Jimmy Stewart won for Best Supporting, Best Actor. And he's so great. And I love who's the girl who plays the reporter with him? Ruth Hussey,
that's right. Sorry. Anyway, they're so great because he starts to be more interested in the Katharine Hepburn character, and you just see like how devastated she is by his interest in this Katharine Hepburn character. And that's really, really lovely done very well. And Katharine Hepburn is going to get married to this man, but then the Cary Grant character comes in, and who she used to be married to, but it didn't end well. And I don't know. It's funny. It's got great banter. It's all executed really well. In many ways, it's one of those movies that feels like a play that's been filmed.
Well, I mean, it was based on a play.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, though, when movies kind of, I think Moonstruck in a way is also like this. It feels kind of like a play. It just, the way that the dialogue is done, and it's really, really great. And Cary Grant is so good in this.
It's insane. Everybody is so incredible in this movie.
I think that Cary Grant was often I don't know, kind of overlooked in a way because he played the same part in a lot of movies, but he brought that part to so many different genres and so many different things, and he just did it so well. And there's something in life I've been thinking a lot about lately, that like there's this thing called the one, and that this idea that you find the one thing that you are really great at, and then you execute it well. And I don't think that that's a slight on an actor if they find the thing that they do and they execute it well. And I think Cary Grant is a great example of that. He's so charming.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll disagree with like you saying that he like plays the one part. He is charming in every role that he's in, but that's just who he is as a human being.
Yeah.
He's got amazing comedic timing, which I think is often overlooked because he's just so smooth. But he's a comedic genius. And he also really knows how to bring it in the emotional moments. I mean, when they're talking about the true love, that scene's amazing.
Yes.
Well, and I think a lot of the times people think, actors from the 40s are over the top because they all talk in the transatlantic accent. And they're like, you'll never know how I'm going to find myself in this new fancy place. But just because they talk like that doesn't mean they are being insincere or whatever. Right. They all act the crap out of this. And it's not over the top, and it's not it's not understated by any sense of the meat, but it's so real and it's so great. Oh.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, he could also bring that charming, debonair personality to more scary, more dramatic performances as well. Certainly something like Notorious or To Catch a Thief, or his various in North by Northwest, kind of thing. So, but I don't know, he's just great. There's been actors who have done similar kind of personas, I think, but never that have executed, I don't think, as well as Cary Grant since. And he was just the best. And anyway, and Jimmy Stewart is, a lot of people compare Tom Hanks to Jimmy Stewart.
Tom Hanks wishes.
Yeah. And he just seemed like the boy next door, just like such a nice man. And he does that sort of insecurity really well here in this movie, I think. I don't know, it's just great. And Katharine Hepburn,
Katharine Hepburn is and always will be my favorite actress of all time.
Yeah.
If I could be anyone, I would be Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah. Great. And they have such great chemistry, all these three actors together, I think. And they just bounce off each other really well. And I think you buy, because it's kind of a hard ending to buy, that she would just like marry this person that like it had ended badly. And, like that could have been really groan inducing, the ending, but it works, I think, for the actors.
I don't have a hard time believing it, because the only reason it's basically like they were just in a big fight for 2 years and then they finally made up. Neither of them stopped loving each other.
Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean, though? In the wrong hands, without that chemistry, it would be really groan inducing. But they have the chemistry, so it really works for me.
Yeah.
But I guess that's true with almost any romantic comedy in reality. But anyway, it's a great choice. It's one of the great movies. So yeah, I gave 5 stars on my Letterboxd.
If there were 10 stars, I would give it all the stars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, there you go. So really eclectic. I really like this podcast because I think it shows our different personalities and some really eclectic fun films. And so let us know what you think of these 4 movies. What are some of your favorite movies that involve weddings? And, let us know what you think. What do you think of Tim Burton? What you think of the Philadelphia Story, any of these actors, Nicholas Sparks, any of the stuff that we've talked about. We kind of covered a lot of ground. But let us know what you think on Twitter or in the comments section. And Amber, where can people find you?
As always, I'm at Amber Brainwaves on Twitter, and that's it.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and on YouTube. And so make sure to follow me there, like I said, for all the animation reviews that you could ever want. And thanks so much. And make sure you're following us at Hallmarkies Podcast on iTunes and on YouTube, and also on our various social media, because we try to post every single day on Twitter and on Instagram and all that fun stuff. We'd love to hear your feedback. So thanks again, and we will talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.